Hey guys, welcome back to The Mind of Brandon. As indicated by the title of this video, Sorsha and Freelee want to kill meat eaters. So I was recently watching one of Sorsha's videos. It's titled, "I'm an Unpeaceful Vegan." And someone had left a comment on that video that, I started responding to it down in the comment box, but it got to be a long enough response that I might as well just do a video for this person. So I will go ahead and show you guys this person's comment, and then I will go ahead and respond to it.
Sorcha, you're not making a difference.
I disagree with this. I think that Sorsha is making a difference. Now, I technically adopted a vegan diet before I ever came across Sorsha's videos. But when I adopted this vegan diet, I didn't do it with the attitude of, oh, I'm going to check and see what's in the clothes I buy or anything like that. I wasn't doing it for the animals. I was doing it because of my own personal health concerns, right? But after I started watching some of Sorsha's videos, and she was showing all these horrible things being done onto the animals, all the enslavement, rape, torture, and slaughter, right? I started thinking about, how unnecessary this is, and I just kind of had this moment where I was just like, this has to stop. And so, I went from being, kind of a half-assed vegan who didn't really take it all that seriously to one that was, a little more committed, and so I started, kind of thinking a little more about what's in the clothes I'm buying, right?
I'm not saying quit making videos. It is just when you say retarded shit, I could do a video worth of your shit disproving it.
Well, I certainly don't agree with everything that Sorsha said and done, but, I would say if you're saying stuff like, oh, I could disprove all this, then you might as well make a video disproving the stuff that you're saying you can disprove, right? There's no sense in leaving a comment boasting about what you could do when you can do it. I see that you are already posting videos, so if you can make a video disproving stuff, then you should make a video disproving stuff. If there's stuff that you can disprove, that helps the trajectory of the human race, right? It's good to call out bullshit. It's good to debunk things, right? So, if you really honestly think that you can debunk some of what Sorsha is saying, then debunk it.
You should not force your beliefs or tell people to force their beliefs. You tried doing it to your mother, which is disgusting.
This guy thinks he's a debunker. He can't even spell right. He did believes 2 times when he should have said beliefs with an F, not a V. And he did the wrong your. He did you, Y-O-U, apostrophe R-E, which should have just been, your Y-O-U-R, right? Come on, man. You can't even fucking spell shit right. You can't use the right your. What do you think you're going to debunk? What's this about? Forcing her beliefs? Oh, forcing her beliefs? It's a YouTube video. What's she forcing? What are you talking about?
I treat animals unequally because that's how we evolved.
Well, sure, that's a part of how we wound up where we are today, adapting to our environments, adapting our environments to suit us, that sort of thing, right? And, well, we can continue to adapt. We can continue to evolve. We're now at a point where we don't have to contribute to the enslavement, rape, torture, and slaughter of these innocent beings that did nothing to hurt us in any way. We don't have to do that in order to get the food that we need, in order to get the nutrients that we need, in order to get the clothes that we need. We don't have to do that. If you like chicken, there's all sorts of, vegan alternatives to chicken, stuff that's made to look and taste like chicken. Beyond Chicken has just as much protein as actual chicken, right? Gardine's chicken, it tastes just like, crispy chicken tenders. It's delicious, right? There's vegan bacon, vegan eggs, there's vegan turkey, or tofurkey, right? There's, vegan milk, non-dairy milk. There's non-dairy cheese, non-dairy butter, right? There's non-dairy ice cream, right? There's all sorts of great vegan alternatives out there. And some of it's actually going to be fortified with the stuff that you don't find in raw vegetation, in raw fruits and veggies. Nutrients like B12, D3, so stuff that, people typically think, oh, well, you can only get that from animal products. No, you can, that stuff can actually be cultured in labs and put into cooked vegan foods. Okay, and that's happening right now. maybe once upon a time, we needed to have animal products in our diet, but we've adapted. We have evolved. We don't need to do it anymore.
If you are a Christian, then you do know God put some animals on earth to tame, some to leave, and some to eat.
Does anyone else think that's ironic that he talks about how we evolved and then he talks about how God created us? Come on, man. If you read the Bible, right, just read the first chapter. You read the first chapter of Genesis. Okay, there's no evolution in there, right? It talks about how on day 5, he created the animals that, fly in the sky, like birds, right? And he created the animals that swim in the sea, like fish, okay? And then on day 6, he created animals of the land and humans, right? But according to evolutionary theory, the birds evolved from land-dwelling reptiles, dinosaurs, right? So yeah, that doesn't really jive with evolutionary theory. I would actually say that Genesis chapter 1 has a vegetarian message, not a vegan message, a vegetarian message, because it does talk about man having dominion over the animals, but it doesn't say to eat the animals. It does say to eat the vegetation. The vegetation is there for man and the animals to eat. It says nothing about eating the animals. Okay, actually it says to use the vegetation for meat, almost as if it's saying don't eat animal meat, eat the vegetation. Okay, that might be a misinterpretation. We got to keep in mind the Bible is written in an ancient language. We might be dealing with translation issues, right? There might be some misinterpretation there, but regardless, it does kind of look like it has a vegetarian message in Genesis chapter 1. Granted, later in the Bible, we'll see stuff about here's what animals are all right to eat. Here's what animals you shouldn't eat. But that's later in the Bible. There's all sorts of different source material going into the Bible. It's written by a bunch of different people. Okay. And so we are going to see contradictions in the Bible. In fact, one need look no further than Genesis chapter 2 to find stuff that contradicts the first chapter. I actually already did a video dedicated to talking about contradictions in Genesis. So I'm not going to go back over all of that, but I will go ahead and point out that in Genesis chapter 1, you have the creation of all the animals before you have the creation of the first man. But in Genesis chapter 2, you have the creation of the first man before you have the creation of any of the animals. But here's the thing. When these animals are created, they are created as companions for man. So in Genesis chapter 2, we actually get a vegan message. Okay? Chapter 1, we had a vegetarian message. In chapter 2, we get a vegan message. Okay? You can eat all the fruits in the garden except, the ones from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And, the animals, they are there for companions. They are not there for food. Okay? Now, when we get to the story of Cain and Abel, that's when we start seeing horrible things done unto the animals. Okay? It's in the story of Cain and Abel, you have the reason that the Lord preferred Abel over Cain, which of course led to Cain getting jealous and killing his brother Abel. The reason the Lord preferred Abel over Cain is because of the animal offerings that Abel brought him. He preferred the animal offerings from Abel over the plant offerings that were brought by Cain. So we're definitely not seeing vegetarian or vegan messages there. But that's something to keep in mind, is there is different source material going into the Bible. It is going to have contradictions. And so I wouldn't necessarily view the Bible to be a reliable reference with regard to what's okay to eat, what's not okay to eat. And you're certainly not going to win Sorcha over on, saying, oh, well, here's what the Bible says, right? She's not a religious person. She seems to be someone who's really not fond of religion at all, actually.
Meat is healthy as long as you don't eat too much within a day.
I would more or less agree with that. I mean, there are contexts where it, can be healthy to consume animal meat, kind of like as a supplementation, like if you're deficient in a particular nutrient that's found in abundance in like chicken or beef or something like that, then certainly it can be healthy in that context to consume that meat. But we're in a day and age where we don't need to contribute to the enslavement, rape, torture, and slaughter of innocent animals in order to get proper supplementation. You can go, buy supplements over the counter. It'll actually be cheaper in the long run to get a big old container of the supplements that you need than to constantly go to the store and buy more bags of beef patties, more bags of chicken tenders, right? It'll be cheaper in the long run to get a big old container of supplements. Now, to clarify, I'm not saying anyone should become dependent on supplements. Actually, I think doctors will tell you it's better to get all your vitamins and minerals from food sources if you can. But if you haven't been eating the right food sources to get the right vitamins and minerals, then doctors will recommend supplements. It's like, okay, we gotta boost your levels in this or that or whatever, and so they'll give you supplements. Okay, but the point here is that in order to get the right vitamins and minerals, you don't need to depend on animal products. Okay, you don't need animal products in your diet to get that stuff. In fact, consuming animal products, of course, is going to mean that you're consuming things like trans fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, stuff that's not so good for you. It can lead to heart disease, cancer, stuff like that, right? Granted, if you're only having a little bit a day, you're right. It's not as bad as long as you're only having a little bit each day. But at the same time, if you're only having a little bit each day, it's like you might as well be eating the vegan version of it. Why eat actual dead chickens made with cruelty done unto chickens when you can eat vegan chicken that is going to have just as much protein as actual chicken? Like I said, the Beyond Chicken, the vegan chicken, has just as much protein as actual chicken. Okay? Beef. Beef is a good source of protein, good source of iron. It's got some B12 in there, right? But you're going to find all sorts of, meatless burgers, right? You're going to find vegan beef, right, that has been fortified with B12. It's going to be a good source of iron, going to be a good source of protein, right? So you really don't need the animal products. Okay, that's the point I'm really trying to drive home here. Yes, it can be healthy to have meat in certain contexts, but you don't need it. You can have other stuff without contributing to the enslavement, rape, torture, and slaughter of innocent animals, and without adding the extra unnecessary trans fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol into your diet. Plus, let's not forget the environmental impacts of animal agriculture. Not so great for the environment.
You support Freelee, so you more than likely believe I should be killed.
Oh, come on, man. Sorsha and Freelee don't think that you should be killed. Where do you get that shit from?
You just gotta step the fuck up, or you really don't deserve to live on this planet.
Oh, right, that. No, that was actually the very first video from Freelee the Banana Girl that I ever watched. It was, back when I was still a meat eater, wasn't even thinking about going vegan, really. I guess the way I found out about that video, I think it was from watching a video that Undoomed did. It might have been someone else, but I know Undoomed did a video addressing Freelee the Banana Girl. And basically, I was watching this video where someone was kind of painting this picture that she's saying all meat eaters deserve to die, right? And, I decided, okay, well, before I finish watching this video that this person's doing, responding to Freelee, I'm going to watch Freelee's original video to, just to kind of make sure I'm understanding her position, right? Because I know that sometimes when people do responses, they actually misrepresent the other person's perspective on things. They misrepresent their position, right? Common phenomenon. It happens to me all the time. I see it happen to other people all the time. So I decided to watch her video, to make sure I'm really understanding her perspectives. And what I found was, sure enough, people are misrepresenting her position.
Hey Fruitbat, so I just woke up and I was thinking about something in bed, which I think about quite often, and that's where the people who continue to eat meat and dairy, even though they know the impact of their diet choices on the planet, on the animals, they've watched Earthlings, they know all the facts, they've been educated, but they choose to continue eating animal products. Whether they actually deserve to continue living.
Now, when the YouTube user Undoomed showed that clip in his response to Freelee the Banana Girl, he actually cut some of it out in a way that made it look like she was, like she had a position that was worse than it actually was, right? And, you know, in his response, he's basically acting like, oh, she wants to kill all meat eaters, right? It was pretty much a blatant misrepresentation of the position she just put forward. Because, you know, when she's talking about some meat eaters who don't deserve to live, she's talking about a particular variety of meat eater that has been properly educated on the impacts that, you know, consuming egg, meat, and dairy, the impacts that has on not just their own personal health, but the impacts on the animals and the impacts on the overall environment. Okay? So she's talking about a variety of human being, a variety of meat eater that has been properly educated on that, knows how needless it is, they know the alternatives, and yet they choose to continue, you know, contributing to the enslavement, rape, torture, and slaughter of innocent animals. They continue to, you know, do stuff that's harmful to their own bodies. They continue to do stuff that's bad for the overall environment. Okay? Now, I do not believe that anyone deserves to die. Okay? I don't even believe in deservedness. I think that's all, you know, subjective, arbitrary morality, right? It's all nonsense. Okay? But if we operate with the assumption that there is such a thing as deservedness, okay? If we say there's such a thing as someone who deserves to live or someone who deserves to die, as, you know, we do commonly see this attitude permeate throughout our culture, this attitude that there are people who deserve to live, people who deserve to die. If there's anyone that deserves to die, isn't it going to be the person who not only is needlessly and knowingly destroying themselves, they are needlessly and knowingly destroying other innocent beings that aren't hurting anyone else, and they are needlessly and knowingly destroying the planet? If there's anyone that deserves to die, isn't it that person? Okay? If we operate with the assumption that there are people that deserve to die. Again, I don't believe that. Okay? I don't think anyone deserves to die. Okay? But if there is someone that deserves to die, it's that person. Okay? If we're all being intellectually honest here, I'm making a good point, aren't I? Okay? And if I'm being honest, I have noticed quite a bit of intellectual dishonesty from non-vegans who do responses to vegans here on YouTube. To be fair, I would have done it too back when I was a non-vegan. I would have made the same intellectually dishonest arguments. You know, I would have been, you know, talking about, oh, we're omnivores, knowing deep down inside I should probably research stuff a little more thoroughly. I would have said stuff like, oh, look, we got canines. The canines, though, you know, even though knowing deep down inside, you know, well, it's kind of an appeal to nature, right? You know, I knew deep down inside that the arguments that I came up with were arguments that were coming from a place of ignorance. There's stuff I should research more thoroughly, and I had a bias, okay? I knew that deep down inside, even before I ever went vegan. And so when I actually started doing the research, you know, when I started educating myself on this stuff, learning more about what alternative options are available to us, that it is possible to have a healthy vegan diet, you know, I had to do away with the intellectual dishonesty there, right? And so now I come on YouTube and I promote the vegan message, okay? No, I don't think people deserve to die. I accept that there are people that are just not well educated on this stuff. I don't want to tell them you're a horrible person. Again, you know, good people, bad people, that's all arbitrary subjective morality. There's not really any such thing as people who are good or people who are bad, right? It's all make-believe bullshit, right? But at the same time, like, why do horrible things to these innocent beings? Okay, to these animals that aren't hurting anyone else? Why do that? Why continue to contribute to that when it's not necessary? We don't need to do it. And if you're of the attitude that we do need to do it, then that means that you just haven't been properly educated on the subject matter. Or well, okay, to be fair, it could mean that you actually are in circumstances where that's necessary for survival, which, if you have the internet, I doubt that's the case. I could be wrong. If I'm being fair, I don't know everything. Right? But I think it's pretty likely if you have access to the internet, you also have access to good vegan alternatives. You can order them off the internet, for crying out loud. So yeah, you have access to good vegan alternatives if you have access to the internet. That said, I've been a non-vegan before. I'm not going to judge anyone who doesn't go vegan. I know what it's like, but I still think it's a good idea to encourage people to look into it, give it a try. Might as well. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one. So have a good one guys, and peace.